there. Rob there. Andy here. Welcome to Chalk Talk. Subscribe. Why are you not subscribing? Go to YouTube and subscribe. Hit like. Give comments. Feedback. Hello. This week, Browns Ravens. Where should we begin and end? That's probably the end of the story. 20 point underdogs the Browns are. 20. The Cavs are rolling, but in between the show, we're going to talk about the wonderful Buckeyes and that turnaround. And honestly, that's kind of what I'm dying to talk about. I think the Buckeyes are a fascinating story. But we must start with the Browns. The Browns are now the third overall draft pick. They have a bunch of injuries, and someone named Zappe is starting. Rob, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, my friend. I'm wonderful. Andy, tomorrow, put the women and children to bed. Put the women and children to bed. This will be a barn burner. Let me tell you that. I am glad. I am very glad that Stefanski or Dorsey, Barry, somebody made the decision to sit Dorian Thompson Robinson down, because that was painful. That was painful. Listen, Bailey Zappe, he was serviceable. Was serviceable. I think he'll move the football a little bit. I don't know who's going to run the ball because
no Strong. No, by the way, Strong sucked anyways, but no
Strong sucked. They did sign John Kelly, who is familiar with he's familiar with the offense, but at least I think Bailey Zappe is more competent than DTR.
The lucky man. This game is one of in the 25 years, I have felt this way probably 20 times where it's like, no chance. No chance. Oh. There's just nothing. Jerome Ford out. Denzel Ward out.
As well as he should be. You shouldn't play him. No.
In fact, I think if there wasn't a sack record to be done, I think Mr. Garrett, 95, would be shutting it down. Mitchell and Ogbo were both questionable for this game.
Wouldn't play him. And
Cameron Mitchell's actually a key player if he doesn't play because they don't have Denzel Ward. This game feels like a throwaway. I felt that way. I'm not surprised we're here, though. I don't want to say, like, oh, shocking. It's not.
No.
I knew it was a Dolphin game. This is a throwaway preseason type game. Mm-hmm. It feels that way all the way. The 20 points is very valid in this game, to be honest. I don't even know what to say about the Zappe start because I wouldn't even know how to rank this start.
Because Andy, he is our – since we came back in 99, he is the 40th different quarterback to start a game. He has got that honor as the 40th different quarterback. But at 20 points, can't you see 38-3, 41? I mean, you can see it.
The one thing I'd be careful of in this game, and I will say this, is I've seen this, and you can comment. If you start losing by 40 or more, hold on to your ankles. It's going to be fucking bad. Because it's one thing to be like, oh, hey, patty cake. Zappe's our man. And then you get wiped out 51-0.
Right.
You get waxed. You get embarrassed. Because, by the way, this isn't like a hidden 4:30 game on a Sunday.
No.
It's prime time, ABC, 4:30.
Saturday afternoon.
I don't think there's enough discussion about this. There is a big chance here to get embarrassed. And if I were Stefanski, I'm just going to say this. The embarrassment factor is real in this game.
And don't you think Lamar is going to run up and down the field?
Oh, yeah.
They want Lamar to get as much as Josh Allen probably will get the MVP because he hasn't gotten it yet. Lamar is probably going to run up and down the field.
Oh, yeah. If I were Harbaugh, you want a home game. You do not want to go on the road to start the playoffs. Even if playing on the road against Houston sounds like a give me. So Texans are playing so bad. Having a home game is important.
Right.
I'm going to say this again. I don't give a fuck about the Ravens. Hate the Ravens. Go fuck
yourself. Them. Right.
Go back to the Browns. Don't get embarrassed. I'm going to talk about this Saturday morning on the Instagram show. Don't get embarrassed. Be warned. Do not get embarrassed in the spot. They avoided that, I thought, against Miami. You got to avoid it one more time. Feelings start getting hurt when you're an owner and you're trying to put things at Brook Park, which we're going to get to in a second.
Oh,
And
God.
then all of a sudden you get your ass waxed. And again, ABC. All of a sudden your owner friends start texting you. Things start happening, and you take things real personal. The one thing that bothers me about this game is it's going down that road, if I'm being honest. You don't get the feeling the Browns are going to put up much of a fight. And
No.
there's some evidence of like, hey, sounds like Stefanski's safe. Sounds like they do want the good draft pick, which I understand the latter.
But they don't want to win because if the Patriots win and the Titans win, which could happen,
very, very plausible now. Yep.
We could end up with the number 1 pick, which will be a whole nother show and a whole nother time, which I don't necessarily think we would know what the hell to do with. And do we want?
Well, you always want the number 1 pick.
And
I will say this: if they get the number 1 pick, and I'm going to say this for next week, I've been joking and I say his name funny, but I'm being serious. You got to think about Shadur Sanders and Coach Prime, because that is a combination that could change the narrative of a lot of things here. If you go down this road of I'm going to take the best player or draft or trade down, which I'm not saying is wrong, the draft is a big mystery. I've learned this over the years as a fan. I'm very realistic. It's a question mark in Mario. Might get a banana peel, he might get a gold coin. You don't know. It's a big question mark. So to automatically say, number 1 pick, we're going to be back. I wouldn't say that.
No.
Look, we'll go through the bad Browns draft picks number 1. But you get that, you hope you get a coin. So let's go back to this. There's a lot of stock in that. Don't get embarrassed. I hope Myles Garrett gets a sack title. I really do. All that to be said, this game feels like, hey, we're hoping to get a better draft pick. And, we're going to see what Zappe can do. But I don't even think Zappe's getting a real tryout here. I just get the feeling it's just kind of like, we'll, throw the ball.
Tryout for what? You think he's going to be around? No.
And I'm going to go off on a tangent now. And I'm going to tell everybody out there, if all these sports talk shows do this and they're wrong, well, could they get Kirk Cousins? Could they maybe get Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, God.
How the fuck are you going to have Watson, which you're bringing back, which is a huge mistake, and you're going to bring Watson in the room with Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? That's fucking insane. Like everyone keeps talking like Watson's not going to be here. They've said they're bringing this guy back. They're not sending him home. They said they're bringing him in. How can you have Kirk Cousins and Watson your quarterback?
He's been here a couple of times. You read the tweets or that he's been here a couple of times and blah, 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 blah. He's excited and this and that, all that. They're telling you, you're right, Mr. Billman. You're right. Can you see him and Aaron Rodgers in the same? That's
why I'm laughing these conversations. It's like, but you're not talking about Watson. Watson's going to be here.
Watson's going to be here. Right.
They're not sending him home. They're bringing him in.
So that's why you better talk about Zach Wilson. You better talk about Danny Dimes, Sam Howell, my boy. You're not talking about a guy with any type of credibility.
I will say this. I'll actually put it on both. If you bring in Rodgers or Watson, which, by the way, the Browns are crazy, in play, I will tell you right now, 3-14 again. Bad juju, bad harmony. Those two guys are alpha male quarterbacks. No way. And then you're going to draft a rookie quarterback? Good luck.
But here's the thing. We talk about Kirk Cousins and Stefanski's chemistry and all that shit. If anybody has seen Kirk Cousins play quarterback this year, I mean, his arm strength is shot. He's old. He's slow. If I'm a Falcons fan, I'm kind of pissed because while Michael Penix has had his ups and downs, I think he definitely would have given him a better chance to win than Cousins was doing at least the last 4 or 5 games.
Penix can play. Good player.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There's been a lot of talk about this. I didn't put in the rundown, so I apologize. But I'm going to get your brain warmed up to this. I've heard it multiple times now. I don't think the Browns should do this, but would you trade for J.J. McCarthy from the Vikings?
I saw that too.
I I'm starting to see more of it, so I think we need to talk about it. I would not.
Yeah, but I wouldn't either because they want a king's ransom from what the articles I saw.
And they should.
Why?
I mean,
what did he do?
Mystery. No. The Vikings are doing again. If I'm a Vikings fan, I do the same thing. It's like, hey, you want McCarthy? Give us a 1 pick. You can have him.
But
and that's crazy for the Browns.
What has he done other than Harbaugh
get injured
and Harbaugh saying he's the best quarterback since Sammy Baugh in Jesus Christ? I mean, think about it. In Michigan, they ran the ball. He was a nice quarterback, but
the only thing you can hear from that you do hear barking is scouts saying in that first preseason game he looked great. And I wouldn't put much stock into that either. Again, that's me. I'll be probably proven wrong. McCarthy just reminds me of a college quarterback. I felt differently about Penix. I think Penix can really play. I think he's actually going to be good.
Yeah.
And Daniels is. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't a Daniels guy. He has proven me wrong. Kid can play and watch.
Oh, I've loved Jaden Daniels. I picked Jaden Daniels on my fantasy football league, and they all thought I was an asshole. And maybe but he's been solid. I love that kid.
That was really good. All right, back to the Browns. I know a couple other icing on the cake moments. Garrett Pro Bowl, Denzel Ward Pro Bowl moment. Surprised the punter wasn't on there, Bajorquez. He's actually had a really good year, but he didn't make it.
Yeah.
Then the other guy who's quietly, I would say, the bright shining light for the organization, Jerry Jeudy. And I will say, after all the negative stuff, Jeudy is a positive. Judy's had a really good stint here. He is a number one. If you want to hang your hat for your Browns organization, I would talk about Jeudy a lot. That's been a big.
Yeah. Considering who was throwing him the ball weeks 1 through 6, 1 through 7, and then, after Winston went out, he really, I think he's had a wonderful year, and he's acted like a professional when some other guys really haven't. I
agree. Let's go to the prediction time. I don't think the Browns are going to win. I don't think you do either. I actually don't think they're going to cover, which worries me. And I'll leave it there. What do you think? Do you think they cover?
No. Cover 20?
Yep. I don't either.
No. And it opened up at 17.5, and people were saying, man, an NFL line at 17.5. And I told everybody that would listen, I said, that number is going to keep getting bet up. I said, people are going to keep pounding it up. And sure enough, we're at today. It's at 19.5, 20, depending on where you're shopping. Because how can anybody, even the biggest homer like me, how could you mount a case for the Browns? I mean, the Ravens want to win this game.
Yep, I agree.
How can you see us stopping Lamar as long as he's in the game more than once or twice?
I agree, buddy. But I agree. I can't say it enough. This team drives me crazy. And I think the 20 points is accurate. It's all sad stuff, by the way. It's very sad. Are you worried about Vrabel leaving town and taking another job? Sounds like he's a favorite at the Jets already.
I mean, did we really think Vrabel was going to stay around and coach the offensive line next year? I'm not. No, I think he's a solid coach. To be honest with you, I think it's a distraction because it gives more of the pundits something else to talk about. If I'm Vrabel, I would not go anywhere near the Jets, but because he's got a pick of quite a few other jobs. But
yeah, I'm surprised. I would say the same thing. Do you feel safe Monday morning if you're Andrew Berry?
I mean, everybody keeps saying that he's safe, but I don't know how. How?
See, that's my point. I don't feel. I'm so glad. This is why I love you. I feel the same way. It's like, does Andrew Berry feel safe? Like, how could he feel safe?
I mean, just look at his body of work, and how could you say that he's? I mean,
I don't think that's a given. Everybody says it, including Adam Schefter. As Stefanski definitely back.
Everybody says he's. Everybody you talk to.
Everybody. He's not on the hot list. It's amazing.
Not even on the hot seat. He's a wonderful coach, and he's not on the hot seat. Him or Barry, and Haslam loves him. But you're right that these owners, they may make knee-jerk reactions, and if they get run out of Baltimore, which is quite possible,
we've seen it.
But that could be an idiot move, because then you fire Stefanski Monday morning. And there's 10 other jobs. You may end up looking at Lovie Smith and Matt Eberflus, because you're not the top job anymore. Because who the hell wants to coach Deshaun Watson?
The only thing that I don't like about this whole situation is, and it feels this way, which is surprising and not good. We'll talk about this more next week. I get the feeling everybody's coming back, and that's surprising.
If Bubba Ventrone and
sounds like he's coming back.
Oh my God! And Ken Dorsey come back.
Sounds like he might come back.
That's criminal.
I'll tell you, Dorsey is shameful if he comes back. Shameful. He's
Andy,
an awful coordinator.
How do you see that?
Awful.
How could you have to be able to run the football, and he has no scheme of running the football.
None. He has no plans. He sucks. Guy sucks. He's a terrible coach.
Here's how Stefanski may be out, because if I'm Stefanski, I'm going into Haslam's office Monday morning on Black Monday saying, listen, it's let me run this offense, get rid of this clown.
Yep.
If we're going to run it back, we're going to run my offense. Let me call the plays, or else I'm done.
I agree. I can't say I'm not going to trump what you just said. You're absolutely correct, and I agree. I agree on so many levels.
Because Andy, how could we win football games with PJ Walker, with DTR last year, with Flacco, Stefanski won games.
Prochet as a returner after fumbling. Even little things like that are like, if Prochet again is running back there in Baltimore, I'm going to be like, who is approving this? Who is saying, okay, Prochet's back there? And it's like, why? Why?
That means Stefanski's not even paying attention anymore, and they're not.
Problem.
They've mailed it in. Mail it in.
I'm telling you, there's too much cruise control in Berea.
Yep.
Now, we'll flip the chains. I actually think everybody's coming back. And I have a warning for people who watch the show. I do think there's a chance Ken Dorsey comes back, and I will lose my shit even louder. That guy is a joke. I've been so unimpressed by him.
But there's no way. But there's no way Dickerson comes back. If Vrabel had to take over the offensive line, coaching the offensive line, Dickerson, Dorsey, Ventrone, look at the body of work.
Terrible. How do you put Prochet back there and say it works? How do you say that? How does a normal human being? How many fancy plays have we done on special teams? Fucking zero.
How do you? We take a flyer on Kadarius Toney when everybody knows that the guy couldn't catch the football.
I'm starting to get angry.
Okay, so then, then you get rid of Toney when we finally figure out. Then Prochet. Okay, so Ventrone should not. They should have fired him after we gave up the touchdown against the Bengals on the opening kickoff. Criminal, okay? Criminal.
Yes, set the tone of that terrible game.
How do you let Riley Patterson kicks one game, then you put him back on the practice squad? Maybe that's not Ventrone's fault. Maybe that's Andrew Berry's fault.
I was going to say that's a Berry problem. See, the
Hopkins
kicker
shouldn't be there.
Well, kicker's a different beast. This team's a fucking mess.
It's a mess.
It's a fucking mess. All right, we'll do this more. Tuesday's going to be a fiery, pissly Brown show. Okay, I want to talk about this because it's becoming too much of a headline. This stadium thing with the politicians and Bibb. I want to do a quick minute on it. It's not good. It does remind me of contentious. Rob and I talked about this earlier this week. I totally see this as a political move. He's trying to delay anything he has. The Haslams are moving forward. I don't think there's a right side here. I don't like how people are taking side. I don't think there's a right side here at all. I don't like this. I just don't like it. And frankly, I think both sides need to grow up, get in the room, and sit and talk. Yeah. This is just so stupid, so dumb. It's just another layer of awful on this team, and it is.
And the mayor waited and just pulled a complete political stunt, in my opinion.
Of course he did. Yes. He's trying to delay. He's trying anything he can to delay this decision. Here's the one thing the Haslams do run up against. I do want to say this out loud. There is a big portion of Brook Park that has to come from government at some point, taxpayers. There has to be.
Right.
So, and they've said that. So people go like, well, what can they do? Actually, the government can do a lot here because Bibb can call his buddies in Columbus and everywhere else and be like, hey, look, put a stop to this and help me. Government can be a real thorn in people's lives. And I hate to say this, as I love Cleveland so much, and you can probably speak better than I can. There's a history of this town when they don't like something, they get really politicized and they put things in the ground to stop people from doing things.
And they will muddy up the waters, yes.
And they're muddying it quick.
Yep.
And so for people out there goes, well, I don't understand what Bibb's doing. It's like, well, he's delaying it. And and by the way, he can get real tough and call politicians, be like, hey, I need you to join my side here, and we need some help. Because frankly, Brook Park has no history. So the mayor of Brook Park's not going to get in this. But and I'm going to warn people again. There's a lot of money here. It's a lot of money. For downtown businesses, the Browns not being there is not a little thing. And I think it's been made too lightly. It means big things for hotels. It means big things for restaurants. It means big things for foot traffic in the city. So to lose that vice is not a little thing. It's not. And it's not just 8 games a year. It's multiple weekends. If you see the Packers when they play the Browns, it starts on Friday.
Absolutely.
It might be even before. So again, to this people out there are making this little, it's not a little thing. It's a big thing.
Absolutely. And while I understand the Modell law, I don't believe Bibb has anybody in tow that's actually prepared to buy the team. I mean, we could only hope that they have a group of investors that would be headed up by Dan Gilbert. You know what I'm saying?
I will say, I don't see people have scoffed at this. I don't think it's scoffing. I think you can get billionaires. These people are like, we're going to get a billionaire. It's like, well, I mean, you do have one. I thought of Gilbert too. It's like, Gilbert,
I mean, that would be the best thing that could happen.
That'd be wonderful.
If we can get Gilbert and we can get rid of these son of a bitches that own the team. Oh. But here's the thing. On the flip side, you understand the entire complex in Brook Park. The dome facility brings so much more to the city in the sense of the concerts, the WrestleMania, Super Bowl, the events.
Even silly things like East Regional Finals now, because now you're playing in a
Final Four. And Andy, we're not a political show, but the whole other situation, and I'm not blaming Leon, Justin Bibb, the lakefront, the airport that's totally been talked about since the 70s that nobody has done anything with over there is a total miscarriage of justice.
The lakefront actually has really not changed. And that's been a problem for a long time. Like, there's a lot of change in the city. If you go into lakefronts, like, it kind of looks like what I reminded myself growing up going to Browns games. It really hasn't changed that much.
Yes.
The only thing that's changed is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And that whole area is really nice. Outside of that, it really hasn't changed much, to be honest with you. No. We'll stop there because we have to do more on this next week. And I think future weeks, but I'll say this again, I would keep this out of the press for both sides. I think it's a drag in the mud. And I will be fair to the Haslams. I understand what they're trying to do here as well.
And for the Haslams, I listen, that whole complex, I understand both sides, but the Haslams, in my opinion, have to tread lightly because
I agree.
Not only Are they ignorant to the people of the city of Cleveland? Their product is awful,
Yeah.
and they have one of the most, if not the most polarizing individual in maybe the history of sports right now. Their quarterback is one of the most disliked people in all of sports currently with his off the field transgressions. So they have to, in my opinion, they have to be careful because the fan base is disgruntled. People are selling off. They're not renewing their season tickets. We are pissed off. So now we're coming off a shit season. You've given us another shit sandwich, and then now you're talking about in 29, the biggest thing we care about, Mr. Billman, give us a goddamn good football team.
Yeah, the one thing that I do find surprising, there's a lot of tradition being sold for money. And there is a right to have money. And there's a reason to make money. And I don't want to take that away from Haslam's. They have every right to make money. It feels like a big money play, and that's it. And that's why I'm turned off by it, too. It's like, I get it. I want all these events. And I want a dome. But it just feels like a big money play now. It doesn't feel like it's about the Browns.
And if you saw that message earlier, we got in the group chat, the Haslams are sure as hell making money. As shitty as the Browns are and as dumb as we are, the Haslams are making money off of us.
There is no question. One last time. The reason why Bib's putting up a fight, they have asked for taxpayer money for these things. And that's something that doesn't get barked about enough on both sides. So because of that, it has to be really discussed here. What does that mean? And who's going to get the kickbacks? Because to your point, the Haslams are going to make a killing off hotels. It's going to be like Foxborough. It reminds me of Foxborough. People don't know the New England Patriots don't play in Boston, they play in Foxborough. And what Robert Plant. What's his name?
Kraft.
Well, Kraft
Robert
is
Plant.
He's correct. That's guitarist. He's created a little mini city, but he's built shopping malls, and that's what the Haslams are going to do in Brook Park. And what happens is they've really conquered a big piece of property and really monopolized it. That's in goal here. And I'm not saying it's wrong because it brings events to Cleveland.
It's good for the economy. It's good. It's. I understand. It's good. It's employing the people up there. Correct.
Again, I want the dome. It's just how this has gone about. Anyways, that's a whole. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. These picks this week, I actually think this week is the second hardest. I think this is the hardest. I think picking games at the end of the season are tough because there is a lot of don't give a fuck. And I feel like a lot of teams right now are like, don't care. So to go through all the games is probably silly. So we'll probably just do rapid fire here. We'll sit on a couple of these. Here's one we will sit on. Bengals Steelers 2.5 for the Bengals. Interesting. Meaning that the Ravens lose, the Steelers don't try. I actually do like the Bengals in this game. I'd actually probably take them on the road here. I think the Ravens are going to win big. So I'd probably take the Bengals here.
I concur. I like the Bengals in this one too. The Steelers, I think they've hit their crescendo. They're on a slide. Tomlin's on a slide. Give me the Bengals.
One of the more fascinating teams to watch next year that aren't the Browns or the Falcons. They have a very good quarterback and a bizarre coach. They were playing for a playoff spot against the Panthers. They're 7.5-point favorites. I'd be all over the Falcons here. All over the Falcons.
I agree.
Cowboys Commanders 6.5 for the Commanders. It's a nothing game, really. I would stay away from this game. I don't like this game at all. They have the Commanders at 6.5-point favorites, though.
You know why I'll take the Commanders? Because what I've heard and some of the stuff I've read this week, we may see a Trey Lance sighting, and Trey Lance may be just as good or as bad as DTR. So,
Bears and Packers. The Packers have nothing to play for, really. The Bears are awful. We talk about bad disappointments. One game, one play. Bears haven't won in a long time. It's surprising. Packers are 10-point favorites. I would stay away from this game. I think it's dangerous. I wouldn't touch this game with 10-point boy.
It's definitely. The Bears are only playing for pride, right? You want to beat the Packers. the LaFleur said he was going to play some of his guys. I couldn't take the Bears with 10 points. I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't bet this game.
It's dangerous. You can see the Packers giving up in halftime. It's one of those games. Packers could be a big, and then next thing you know, the Bears win. Happens a lot the last week of the season. Yeah. Tennessee and Texans at Tennessee has a lot of influence. They're the second team to pick right now. The Titans are. They're 1.5-point favorites. Oh my gosh! I guess I would take the Titans here. Wouldn't love it. If you do want to gamble, I would take the Titans and feel good. Wouldn't feel great. I'd feel good.
We need Tennessee to win. Yep. The Browns would like Tennessee to win, but it doesn't matter for the seeding for the Texans. But I think if I'm D'Amico Ryan and the Texans are backing into the playoffs,
they really
are. I would go out there and try to win that game just to give them some hope, because they've really been scuffling. But I think he's going to trot out. They're probably not going to try.
I'm going to see a halftime game. This is a perfect halftime game.
Yeah,
Texans are going to try for a half, and I think they're going to be like, pull the dogs off.
Yeah.
Jaguars and Colts are the next game. This is a game I do like. Colts are 5-point favorites. I'd be all over the Colts. I think the Colts were totally embarrassed about what happened to the Giants. I think the Jaguars don't know up from down. I think the Colts will cover this game and win big. I think the Jaguars are so lost. They're going to wander off in the offseason with nothing to play for.
Do you think the Colts are going to rally after Shane Steichen or after Pat McAfee blasted the entire organization?
Rightly so, as a Colts fan.
Rightly so.
They play bad.
I mean, the Jaguars, this is probably Doug Peterson's swan song, hopefully. I mean,
bad performance in Jacksonville. Bad performance.
The Colts, if they have any intestinal fortitude at all, they should go out there and blow this game out. I mean,
pride game. I do think they're going to play with pride. I think the Jaguars are in DF, or they're in don't give DGF.
Yeah.
Bills, Pats. I would stay away from this game. I think the Pats will win. The Bills are goofy. That coach likes to win. He's a real guy who likes to win every game.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for the Bills to play hard. I just would stay. I don't know why. I'm more sure about the other game with Titans-Texans. I'm less sure about this one. I don't know. I'd stay away from it. I think the Pats will win. I don't know, though. I don't know. Tough. 3-point favorites the Bills are.
This may be Bills' first half. Pats win the game. I think Gerard Mayo needs this game.
I do, too. I think he needs some positivity.
Gerard Mayo's in trouble. A lot of people don't think so. I just think he's been so bad, and I still think there's an outside chance Vrabel ends up in New England. I still think there's an outside chance that he ends up in New England, because Robert Kraft has got to be disgusted with what he's seen. The kid's a good quarterback. I think Drake May, they've got something in Drake May. I like the Pats to win this, but you're right. McDermott doesn't like to lose, I think Bills first half, Patriots game.
Yep, that's a well said. Giants, Eagles, who cares? I would stay away from this game. I don't even know.
Give me the Eagles. The Giants did it last week. Thank God that they had their Super Bowl. They screwed up their pick. They beat the Colts. Eagles will have Tanner McKee or whoever else playing quarterback. They'll run all over them.
2.5-point favorites. The Eagles are. No Barkley in this game. Buccaneers are 14-point favorites. Now, this is a game I do have a vibe on. We all have to commiserate. Baker Mayfield was our quarterback at one point, and he's about ready to go back to the playoffs. I think the Buccaneers win big, and they are 14-point favorites in this game. The Saints are terrible. I have no idea what the Browns are doing. God, that game. That was silly, that loss. They're playing the Bucs. I think the Bucs are going to win big. I really do. I think the Bucs are going to win big. Comfortable and big.
The Buccaneers have something to play for. They need this game.
They have to win this game.
They have to win this game. The Saints, I heard that earlier in the week, that Carr was going to play, Kamara, Olave. I don't necessarily care if Drew Brees was coming back to play and Sean Payton was coaching. And I agree with you. I think Baker lights it up. Mike Evans needs a bunch of yards to hit his bonus. Baker and the boys roll.
Saints, Raiders, our Browns, Jets, Giants, mess. Those teams, they're just a mess. Broncos have to win at home. They're 10.5-point favorites. The Chiefs have announced. Everybody's sitting. I don't know how you can't take Denver here. I think Denver wins easily. It's one of the Chiefs have no interest in this game. So total preseason game.
Okay. I'm on the other side of that.
Wow,
Andy Reid is the coach, and even if you can only sit so many of the Chiefs,
sure,
okay, give me. I still think it's going to be a one-possession game. If you give me Andy Reid and 10 points, I'm going to take my chances. That may be my pick of the week.
Wow.
Somehow. Who the hell is it? Give me Carson Wentz and the Chiefs to somehow hang around and maybe not even win that game to give the Broncos a shit burger.
Wow. You're there. There you go. I am on the other side. The Chiefs are going to lay down, but we'll see. Andy Reid is a fierce competitor, though.
Yep.
So why don't we play this into this game? The Dolphins need the Broncos to lose, and they need to win. They're playing in New York against the Jets. How the Dolphins are only a 1-point favorite, I can't tell you. I don't understand this line at all.
No Tua.
Yeah, but have you seen the Jets? The Jets are so bad. I'm telling you. Like, people are like, but it's the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, have you seen them? They're really, really bad.
Yeah.
I actually like the Dolphins a lot here. I think the Dolphins will figure it out. 10 to 8, something goofy. It's a 1-point spread. They'll win.
You know, all the talk and the speculation about Aaron Rodgers and his last. Nobody gives a shit. The guy's a polarizing figure. Yep. Devontae Adams catching his 500 touchdown. Blah 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 blah. I have no interest in the Jets. So it would be the Dolphins or nothing for me.
Yeah, I think the Jets are going to check. I'm telling you, I think the Jets are going to check out.
They checked out 15 weeks ago. Oh, they got into Rodgers ayahuasca, and that's it.
These 3 games are, I don't care. I wouldn't bet them. Here we go. Chargers, Raiders. Chargers are a 4-point favorite. Seahawks, Rams. Seahawks are a 6.5-point favorite. And then the Niners, Cardinals. The Cardinals are a 4.5-point favorite. The only game I'd probably put a little money on is the Cardinals. I do trust them. The other games I would stay way far away from.
The Seahawks one is very interesting to me because Geno Smith has a ton of money on the table. If he's got some escalators in his contract that if he hits, he'll get some bonuses. But other than that, the Rams game will be interesting because, as I said to you guys the other day, Jimmy G is going to start.
Yep.
He's gonna be putting on an audition to see if he's got anything left.
Well, that's fair. That's why I stay away from it. Hard game.
But yeah. Who knows if he has anything left? If he's rusty, who knows? Rams are going to the playoffs, so who knows what'll, but yeah, this is it's like a preseason week.
It really is. That's why I'm saying the only one of those games is Cardinals to me. You're saying more, and I think the Cardinals will win. I think they want to win. I think they want to finish the season strong. Actually.
Yeah, Gannon wants to finish it strong. What about the best game of the whole week?
Well, that's what I'm saying for last.
Okay.
So the Vikings and Lions. It's everything on the line. 14-2, 14-2. It's basically win in your number 1 seed and you get home field advantage in a bye week. Big game. And if you don't win, you have to go on the road as a wild card. So everything fluctuates in this game. I've kept saying every week, Vikings are overrated and they keep winning. So I got to shut my mouth now. The Lions, to me, feel like a team that has a bunch of injuries and it's mystery. Very hard game to predict. As the Lions is a 2.5-point favorite. Very hard game to predict. I am not going to bet this game because I don't trust myself enough to see. I know in my heart I really want the Lions to win. I'm actually now doing the skull clap. I actually think the Vikings are going to win here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very torn on this game. I don't have a good vibe either way. If I had a gun to my head, I'd take the Vikings.
Yep.
But I don't know. Your thoughts? Big game. Huge game Sunday night.
I was like you. I kept waiting for the other shoe to fall with the Vikings when they lost 2 games in a row. I go, okay, here comes Sam Darnold. He's back. But they righted the ship. I'm on the Vikings. As much as we've said all year, you can't hate the Lions. You love Dan Campbell. I think the Vikings are just a team of destiny. I think the Lions are too banged up, and Dan Campbell, as much of a gambler as he is, something will bite him in the ass. And I just think the Vikings, it's their the ball is just going their way this year, and I like the Vikings in this game for no other reason than it's just their year.
Aside from the Chiefs, I really do like both 1 seeds a lot this year. I like the Chiefs a lot to win in the AFC. The winner of this game to me is probably going to win the NFC.
Yeah,
I really feel that confidently. I like both these teams a lot. I was on the Packers at some point, but they just keep, they just keep losing goofy games. So I actually really think this is for my pick to win go to the Super Bowl. Whoever wins this game, I'm probably going to take them.
Jordan Love sometimes seems great, and then sometimes you're like,
They're just goofy. The Packers, I'm actually more fascinated this year by the NFC. I think the AFC is very boring. The Ravens, it doesn't feel like it, thank God. Steelers, that's great. They're not going to win it. I have no faith in the Texans. None.
No, none.
I don't care about them whatsoever.
No.
Broncos, Bengals, who cares? I mean,
no, because nobody's close to dethroning the. I mean, really, the Bills. I mean, come on.
No, the Bills Chiefs. You have to watch it, but it's like
you have to watch it. But Andy Reid. I mean, it's going to be a 1-score game, and if you give Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes 15 seconds in the ball, you're screwed.
You're telling the guy I'm listening and taking in all the information. So I think it's a chalk walk. I think it's Bills and Chiefs, and can't wait to see you there. And I will be talking a lot about this in the gambling segment for the NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
I really do like the Chiefs a lot. We're going to do a quick cup of coffee on the Cavs, and we're going to get to the Buckeyes. Real quickly. Go for it.
And real quick, if the Lions weren't so banged up, I think the NFC would be a total dogfight. But the Lions, I think, are really banged up. And that's why I love the Vikings to go all the way. I love the Vikings.
I do too. I'll say this. I feel more confident saying, can I see the Packers going to the Super Bowl? Yeah. Can I see the Bears? I mean, sorry, not the Bears. Can I see the Eagles? Sorry. Eagles going to the Super Bowl? Not crazy. I don't feel that way about the AFC. I think the AFC, it's like Bills, Chiefs, that's it. Everybody else is just squadouche. I'd be really surprised if the Ravens win the Super Bowl. I really would. I'd be really surprised.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening. All right, so Cavs quickly, then the Bucks. The Cavs are way too much in the background because of football, and I feel bad for the organization because I do want to do 1 or 2 minutes on it. They're 29-4, and they are taking out opponents on this West Coast swing. For probably many of you didn't watch it, they beat the Nuggets, and the Nuggets played really well. Then they beat the Warriors, and they just wore their ass out.
A buzzsaw.
I mean, just a buzz. I mean, there's actually talk that the Warriors took a step back after that game. And then you get to LA, where LeBron took a week off before playing the Cavs. Lakers had a soft schedule coming in. I mean, they didn't play a lot. Reeves goes off, and the Cavs still win. And they swept all 3. And they're going to Dallas tonight without Doncic. So, and by the way, the Mavericks are really banged up. I love the Cavs tonight.
Love them. And that number is going to keep going up. Yep.
Yeah, I took them early. I love the Cavs.
Take them early.
And Mavericks are really banged up. But the Cavs are just methodically. I've watched a lot of Cavs basketball. I have never seen a West Coast swing like this.
No.
I have never seen this.
Never. I think, Andy, we're almost at the point now that we have to start figuring out how we position ourselves for the playoffs, how
Yeah.
we position because this is at 29-4, we have to start figuring out rotations because it's
folks,
man.
the Cavs are going to win 60+ games.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to cruise in there.
The Cavs are going to win 60+ games. Now you're going to start hearing the stat. Cavs are on the way, 72 wins. I would pump the brakes on that. But 60+ wins, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm actually feeling pretty confident about that at this point.
And here's why you pump the brakes on the 72, because I think Atkinson's smart enough. He's really doing a good job with the minutes, and I think you have to start even more with the minutes, and you got to start playing. Given he's done a great job with the bench, and if Bickerstaff could have done that, Bickerstaff's got to be kicking himself because Atkinson's doing the same he's got the same team.
But here's my example for Bickerstaff. I'm so glad you brought this up, so I would have forgotten it. Probably many of you don't know, the Pistons just had a big injury to Jaden Ivey.
Oh, that was terrible.
Bickerstaff is the coach of that team. That's the kind of injuries the Cavs have had the last few years, where one of their big players goes down with these heaping injuries. Why? Bickerstaff plays them 30+ minutes a game, and they're strenuous minutes. Cavs don't do that. Cavs are playing players. They're gliding in, they're gliding out. And it's wonderful, and they're saving their legs. As soon as I saw that injury, I'm like, that's a Bickerstaff injury. A player who's been playing too much. And I'll tell you, you watch these teams like I am, the Nuggets are going to at some point break. You cannot play Murray 35+ minutes a game.
No.
I mean, he's playing stressful minutes. And by the way, Mitchell was last year for the Cavs. What happened? Fell apart by the Boston series.
They wore out. And
the thing is, you don't see this with the Cavs right now. The Cavs are only dealing with one injury. That's Okoro. Right. That's it. And he's close to coming back.
And that's why, as much as I love Tom Thibodeau as a coach, he's never won anything, because when you get in the playoffs, you can't win with the 6 or 7 man rotation. They run out of gas. They get injured. Last year, he had 6 guys. But you can't play Josh Hart literally 45. You can't play him the entire game 45 out of 48 minutes.
By the way, you play him on Fantasy DraftKings. Josh Hart, we had to do this little segment. Guy got a triple-double. I fucked up the other 2 picks. I got that one right.
Love Josh Hart.
A different segment. Take Josh Hart for points, assists, and rebounds as much as possible. The guy's going to pass out. The guy plays 40 minutes a game. That's not sustainable, by the way. No. That's the next problem. All this to be said, it's gaining momentum. Now, here's some FYIs, and we're going to get to the Buckeyes. OKC is coming. They play them twice in 3 weeks, so they're coming. The Pacers are coming a lot. So there is some different teams that are going to be in our periphery. Now, the Cavs are ready. The Cavs have played the Celtics twice. Again, what I'm seeing in this West Coast swing does not happen in the NBA. They are just winning by like 3 points, 2 points, going away, double
them out.
Digits.
Right.
Like, it's not close. Warriors are sitting down. LeBron James walks off the court saying, I'm pissed off. I lost.
Such a classy guy. Isn't that nice? I love it.
You know what, though? LeBron did that in Cleveland, so it's not people.
No
real
surprise.
Quickly, I actually am a LeBron supporter. That dude did that here in Cleveland. It's not.
I know.
He's the ultimate competitor. Guy loves him.
Yeah.
That's why I loved him as a fan.
And I can't knock him. He brought us a championship. I mean, I'm never dogging him. I know.
And by the way, the Lakers are a lot better. So I think Finney Smith's going to be a great ad. And I actually like what the Lakers are doing. I think Reeves is better than what I thought. They're actually not bad. The Warriors are done. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I'd be really – I was talking to actually a guy the other day who I'll have to put you in touch with, who's a huge Warriors backer, does a lot of social media stuff for them. And he said the same thing. He goes, I feel like we're old. I'm like –
yeah, they're in trouble.
They are. Yeah. It kind of feels old. Anyway, a lot more Cavs in January, but they need a shout out. They're playing so well, and I wish they're getting more attention. I just love watching every game.
After this Browns nonsense, we got a lot. The NFL playoffs are going to be great, but the Cavs will really start kicking in, and And listen, as far as the Warriors, they thought they were going to get more out of Buddy Hield, and he really hasn't, Trace Jackson Smith, he's a second round pick. I mean
They're not there. I don't know what to say. By the way, it's not our problem. Who cares?
Hey, good for them.
Go for them. I mean, the Lakers look better, and the Nuggets. Again, I'll say this: Nuggets aren't a bad club, but they remind me of the Knicks. You can't keep playing players like this. Like at some point, they're going to get injured. Like they're going to tire. I don't understand the long-term plans for the Knicks or Nuggets. I don't. They're just going to pass out. And I'll tell you, that's the other thing to watch if you're an NBA guy. Or hey, I'm an NBA fan who gets into it after football. The Knicks played a very soft December. Their schedule really ramps up. So if everybody's hot on the Knicks, cool. Wait till you see it starts tonight. They're in OKC. It's a tough game. And by the way, they're really good. The Thunder. That's why I can't get too cocky about the Cavs. I'm really fascinated to see the Thunder and Cavs play. Yeah, I really am. I want to see that matchup.
They're an awesome team. Absolutely.
They're really good and very similar styles. It's going to be wonderful to see. Anyways.
Yeah.
And then there's the Buckeyes. What a great win. Boy, how things have changed. I am a neutral fan, so I'll go first. By the way, how about them Irish? That little team, and I don't understand how they fucking beat Georgia, and I don't give a fuck. But I told
you.
Look, I'm now in. See, I didn't bite the apple as an Irish fan. Now I've bitten the apple. Now I'm believing. In the third quarter, after that touchdown on the kickoff return, I'm like, now I'm hooked. Now they got to win this thing. All right, that's for another show. Back to this. That was one of the most impressive Buckeye wins I can remember in a bowl game going away. The only thing I compared it to after the game was the Fiesta Bowl one year where the Buckeyes played the Irish and they just smoked them. And that was the only thing I can really compare it to. What a great game. But I want to put the game aside because I'm going to do a college football picture first, and I want Robert to give the Buckeye fan base the answers. This Jeremiah Smith is one of the transitional players in sports. Vince Young, Reggie Bush, Tebow, Rakib Ishmael. These are all players, when they played, you got to watch the game because this player is that special. Jeremiah Smith is that player.
Absolutely.
Outstanding. He is going to win a Heisman if he stays healthy. He is that player. He turns the game around. Again, Bush, Vince Young, Tebow, Rakib Ishmael, Herschel Walker back in the early 80s. These were players that said, get on my back. We're going to win this thing. We're just going to groove it out. He is that player. He is outstanding, Robert. He is an absolute legend. I think the Buckeyes are going to win the whole thing. I actually do.
Yep. Well, and I said if we could get past Oregon, because I said if we could, it would be us and Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I love the way we finally came out shooting. They came out shooting. Howard was throwing the ball. They weren't messing around with this bullshit offense. And where was any of this against Michigan? Who knows? But who cares? It was.
I wouldn't hang on to that. And don't lose your thought. Buckeye fans,
it was beautiful.
Put aside Michigan for next year. You got to put that game aside now because now it's getting real. Anyways, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah. So as much as, listen, Howard redeemed himself because when you look at, you handicapped the first game, the way we lost, and the only reason we lost the first game against Oregon because of boneheaded mistakes, right?
I also think the Oregon home crowd, it's a typical college football game.
The
college game days, a night game, all those things played a factor. It really did.
Absolutely. But the way we came out and we punched them in the mouth, and I'll tell you what, you couldn't have said it any better about Jeremiah Smith. How come they couldn't have figured out to put a couple of guys on him? I mean, now I'll tell you what, let's hope Texas figures something out. I mean, I hope that they don't, but man, get that kid to football. Get that kid to football.
There again, in my 45, there are a handful of these players, probably about 10, where it's like you just got to watch the game. And Jeremiah Smith, I'm telling you, he's that next player. He's like, you kind of got to watch the game. And we haven't had one in college football in a while. This kid's it. He can win the game. He can literally win the game on his back. Really can.
Him and there's that kid from Alabama, Williams. He's another, like, he should still be in high school too. He's a freshman wide receiver. I think he may be transferring. He's another one that could be like Smith. He didn't get enough. He didn't get the ball enough this year.
Yeah, I saw him play. Not Smith. Smith's different. He's just a different player. So good. He's wide open. Oregon's not lost. Oregon had a month to prepare, and he just took over the game. And again,
took over the game.
There was like, I hate to bring up old wounds, but like Tebow. There was 2 times against Tebow against Oklahoma and once against the Buckeyes where it's like, well, stop Tebow. It's like, well, okay. I mean, if the guy's fucking talented, he's going to stick on his head and make plays. And it's like Rocket Ishmael, stop Rocket Ishmael. I mean, at some point the guy's going to go off, and that's Jeremiah Smith. That's just that guy.
You can contain him for a while, but eventually,
he's just going to go off. It's the reason why, even though I'm a big Irish homer, and now I'm drinking the green juice. That said, I know what I know. The Buckeyes are going to win the whole thing. This team is very talented. There was a great quote today. This is from Trotter on ESPN Cleveland, so I don't want to steal his thunder. But he said a great quote. He said, scouts are saying this is the best team they've ever seen when it comes to talent in college football. And now it's on full display. Ryan Day has saved his job. Am I right? I'm not wrong, right? Ryan Day's not wrong.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. They redeemed themselves, and I just hope we don't get too excited because, listen, I have not been a Will Howard fan, but he played just a wonderful game, and I hope that continues because actually my son said, man, Dad, that's how he played last year. That's how he played before. Now I don't know if it was because of the competition was different, but he just was in command. That offense was like a Chip Kelly offense. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they were they were in rhythm. They were fluid. I mean, Judkins, the running game was going. Henderson seems like he's been there for like 10 years. You know, he's been a running back for a while, but I like Judkins better though.
It's amazing. They're now figuring it out. Let the pass set up the run. Because Henderson, that run, 34-0, game, set, match. And I understood nervous Buckeye fans, and I had a lot texting me about it. And it's like, look, I understand. I'd be a nervous fan too, but it's like game over. 34-0. When it comes to the Ducks, I'll do 1 minute on the Ducks real quick. Very disappointing. They looked very, very poor on a big stage.
Mm-hmm.
It is a big stage. They did a lot of big things this year in the Big Ten, sure. That's embarrassing. And that team can play. Holden's a pro. That wide receiver is going to be a pro. And the wide receiver. That said, they looked, I don't even know what, stiff, shocked. Like, I was stunned. I mean, if Buckeyes win by 10, that's what I was figuring. This game, they just rolled. I mean, it was such a blowout. One more. This guy gets crapped on a lot, and he should have. Jim Knowles also redeemed himself.
Oh, yeah.
This defense played.
Because I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of his. I'll be the first to admit.
Guy played well. Guy had a great game plan. And Sawyer is becoming a legend.
Sawyer, and who's that other kid I never heard of? What the hell was his name? My kid was all over him.
Number 0, and then Downs is also a stud.
Well, Downs, yes.
He is a stud.
2 things about Oregon. First of all, for it was embarrassing that was the performance that the number 1 team in the country rolled out there. You would have expected more. But I will say that the way that Dan Lanning and the way that the team carried themselves after the press conference, they were very professional.
Oh, yeah.
And I do like it. I hated Dan Lanning, and I liked him, and I continue to like him. And the players, the way they handled themselves after, hey, it wasn't our day. We got our butts kicked. But you would have expected. But here's the thing, Andy. The truth is, Ohio State just has that much more talent than these other schools. Now, I heard after Michigan, we lost 30 commits from our class next year. How many more guys are we going to get back after this game?
That's the thing. Like, see, that's where Day's winning it over. They'll come back.
They'll come back.
And that's why I did say, let's see what they can do. And I did make that mention on here, and I made it on Instagram too, where it's like there are many examples where teams get a second chance and they run it over. Folks, you're seeing it. The Buckeyes got a second chance, and they're starting to smoke the room out. They are really going big on this team. We're going to do a lot with Texas, Ohio State. I think that is I love Notre Dame. Love Notre Dame. National Championships, Ohio State, Texas. That is a tough game. That is a big game. Texas can win that game. Texas defense is very good.
Yes, we're facing our former quarterback in Quinn Ewers.
Athletes and speed is matched. It really is in that game. And by the way, Notre Dame Penn State's a wonderful game. I think both those teams are even. But Texas and Ohio State, it's even on that side. Ohio State's an early big favorite. Again, I got to say, I just can't get over that game. And again,
take Ohio State now at 6 before it gets up to 7. Before that line moves, take Ohio State now if you like Ohio State.
Yeah, I do, but I'll tell you, I'm not naive. Texas escaping that game against Arizona State might feel some life. They should have lost that game. And that kid, by the way, in a field goal situation, both those field goal kickers are nerve-wracking for Ohio State and Longhorns. I think the kid's name's Auburn. Auburn's got him. Oh, boy, that second miss was bad.
Oh, bad.
For people who missed it, it was bad. And by the way, I am a big Scatteraboo fan now.
Right? I've been saying that all year.
Yeah, you have, man. I love the kid. Arizona State showed me a lot. I was really like, my other big note from the weekend would be like, gotta be honest, I was really impressed with what I saw from Arizona State.
They play hard.
Yes. One more. For a long time, and they've deserved it, the South has taken over college football. Well, looky here. Penn State, Notre Dame, Ohio State. I'm telling you, I told people for years, I'm like, there's going to be a kind of time when they flip. The NIL, the transfer portal has evened out some things. South Carolina lost to Illinois. Alabama lost to Michigan. USC even beat Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. A lot of these schools are winning back some of these games from the deep South teams. It's interesting to see and watch. And it's good for the game. And it's healthy for the game. It's taken a long time, and the SEC is dominated. It's now finally evened. You can see it. I mean, you can watch these games. Notre Dame, Georgia, real quickly. Georgia's really well coached. I love Kirby Smart. Big game coach. They just had too many injuries with quarterback. I think if they had their other quarterback in there, I think they would have beaten the Irish. But the Irish are really opportunistic, and they took care of opportunities. That's how they won, which is on Notre Dame like in the last 25 years. Yeah. But that said, like Georgia, more national championship team. Texas was this close from losing to the Sun Devils. This close. It was razor thin. Yep. So the SEC dominance, it's still the best league, I think. That said, it's not what it used to be. No. We are starting a change of the tenor. And I think it's good for the game. I'm glad to see some change. I would have been really bummed out to see like Texas, Tennessee.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, I'm not so sure. Carson Beck, I don't love Carson Beck. I thought I was actually happier when Gunnar Stockton got the nod, but he was not prepared. He wasn't ready. Maybe you're right. Beck would have kept him around longer, but I think that Stockton is going to be a better quarterback than Beck. Hopefully, Beck doesn't end up here in Cleveland.
Oh God! Oh my God! Oh, that's not okay. We're gonna wash our mouth out. We're just pretend that. But the one thing I'll say that really killed Georgia in that game, which is on Georgia, like their offensive line let them down. Yeah, they couldn't stop the Irish defensive line. Which, by the way, Irish defensive line was really banged up. They've lost 3 of their key stars, and yet they kept putting pressure on. It was, anyways, a fascinating matchup.
I like Marcus Freeman though. I kind of like him, man. I like Marcus Freeman.
We could do a whole show on him. He drives me crazy. He drives me crazy. I will say that win has secured me with him. because that is a landmark win. Notre Dame, for people who didn't know, has never beaten Georgia. Notre Dame beats everybody at some point. They've never beaten Georgia. So to win that game meant a lot to me, meant a lot to other Irish fans, and the way it was legitimized, they were just better. And that's what I liked about the win. It wasn't luck. It was like they're just a better team. They just won.
Yeah.
They won.
You give me, I mean, if you look at it, Marcus Freeman or James Franklin, I mean, I'm all over Marcus Freeman.
Here's the thing about Penn State. I've come up with this conclusion about Penn State. You know what game you're going to get? A B+ game. They always play a B+ game. It's not an A. It's not an A-, but they're a solid B+ game. Like, I'm starting to figure that out because I actually took Boise State into points. Frickin' Broncos. Can't Broncos, Denver or Boise. Anyways, that said, the one thing I learned about that game is like Penn State, same thing. B+. It's always the same game. Like they're consistent. They're pretty good. They're not great. And they're very
Drew Aller. That's Drew Aller. I mean,
pretty good.
He's pretty good. I could see him here in Cleveland, but as a second-day quarterback, not a first-day quarterback.
Tell you right now, I don't want to do this too much. We have all the offseason. And okay, I'll put down my prime sign for a second. I do think Sanders is the best quarterback in this draft, but
that's not saying much. I don't want. This is not a good quarterback draft, and this is going to be one of those ones where it's. I mean,
I hear you.
Look at Mayfield, Darnold, those guys. It took them. That was not a good draft, a quarterback draft. It took them their second or third.
Well, they should have drafted Allen. They messed up there.
We'd have screwed Allen up. If we'd have taken Allen, he would have never been Josh Allen. If we would have taken Allen, he was the best one out of that. But what I'm saying is that there's nobody in this draft that is like, this guy is it. There just isn't, and I don't think. Watch the film on Sanders, and
I really like him. I don't love him.
Not in the top 10, not in the top 20. I don't want. Give me the defensive end. Give me the
Well, Travis Hunter.
That's a whole.
I think Travis Hunter's taking too many shots because he's a wide receiver cornerback. Kid should be a wide receiver in the pros. Kid's best player in the draft. That's for another day too.
Yeah.
Not for today.
Yeah.
So there you go. So click on Chalk Talk. You like more of this? There we go. We'll be back next week on probably Tuesday. Talk more about the Browns. Gotta be. I guess it wouldn't be great because we want the number one pick down the draft. So we'll see what happens with the Ravens. Very tough game to watch. Went through all of our picks and stuff like that. Again, click on us. We're here every week.
Shorts over the weekend.
Oh, yeah. We'll be doing shorts, all sorts of picks.
Like we're not wearing shorts. We'll do shorts.
Might be wearing shorts.
Shorts.
All right, real quickly, I'll do one thing real fast.
You do it.
For people stuck to the end. If you really want one bet that I like tonight, I love Oklahoma City against the Knicks. It's a double. I think the Thunder is better anyway, so I'm taking the Thunder at home. Also, Hartenstein plays for the Thunder. It's a revenge game. I'm on that play. So I'm taking the Thunder and I'm taking Isaiah Hartenstein plus points, rebounds, and assists over 25. And that's about average. I think he's going to go off. I think he's going to play pissed off. I think that I love the Thunder and I love that play. If you want a really goofy play tonight, that's my really goofy play. I'm also picking as a money line. I'm not going with the line. I'm taking Wisconsin over Iowa. I know the Badgers too well. They burn me in basketball, so I don't think they'll cover, but I know they'll win. So I'm taking them at home to win. Now, I like that bet a lot too. And then my other game, let me bring up here real quickly. So I've already forgotten it. Hold on. I think it's the Magic. Yes, the Magic are playing on the road in Toronto, and they're only getting 1.5 up. I know they have a lot of injuries. Magic are much better than the Raptors. They'll wipe them out. There you go.
Nothing for me as of yet.
Yeah, there's my little sprinkling.
Thank you.
You know what? I got actually one more. Then we will go bye-bye. If Notre Dame plays OSU, I know what it feels like for an Irish fan. Does Ohio State still have the sting of wanting to beat the Irish?
Of course.
Okay. We're close now.
Why wouldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have smoked the. Look, I hate to say this, Irishman. You guys have smoked the Irish plenty.
I mean, we beat you last year on a last-second touchdown, right?
Goofy. God, that was such a goofy game.
Wasn't
By
that
the
Kyle
way,
McCord?
Freeman put 11 points out the field. 10 fucking players. You know what? He got, you know what? I'll be fair to Freeman. Northern Illinois, he has changed his tone, culture, and everything. Freeman used to be guys who did like haircut videos. All that crap has stopped. All of it. After Northern Illinois lost, it's been, we are here to win. And that's
as
what he
well
got.
as he should have.
Yes, that was so goofy. All right. Have a great weekend. Hopefully the Browns don't embarrass us too much. See you here next week. I guess we can still say go Browns, but
Go Browns.
Happy New Year. Goodbye.